Good morning, YouTube. As always, hopefully you are all good and doing well. It is Monday, just after coming back from the Isle of Wight, so I'm feeling nice and refreshed and rejuvenated. Looking forward to going to Thailand and everything like that. Been up nice and early this morning, got my steps in, weighed myself, measured myself, had a look at how I'm looking and everything like that. My weight is a little bit up from where it was, but that is expected after a weekend of eating a little bit differently, drinking a little bit of alcohol and stuff like that. But I feel nice and refreshed and ready to get back into work. This morning I have been going and getting my food shopping for the week because where I came back on Sunday and shops are shut on Sunday, I had to do it this morning. I also had 10% off, but I am going to talk you through exactly what I've got and why I have got it. To start with, from left to right, we are going from carbohydrates, then there's a little bit of veg and fruit, and then mainly protein here. This is just here because I have this as well. And then also some seasoning and stuff like that. And then also this is the main sort of source of fats, the dark chocolate. But as you can see, so some of this stuff is going to last for like 1-2 weeks. Some of it will last a month. But most of this stuff, like the protein, will last like a few days and everything like that. And as you can notice, it's mainly carbohydrate based, then a little bit of veg, and then a little bit, well, a decent amount of protein and a little bit of fat. And for me, this works quite well because carbs are the main thing that sort of like volume out and bulk out food and meals and everything like that. Protein, obviously, like having a high protein diet is beneficial if you're looking to lose fat, and then also if you're trying to gain muscle, you need to be making sure that you're getting your protein in. The main thing with protein is I actually have like an awful lot of protein powder, so that's one thing that I have, but I haven't got that at this moment in time. If I was dieting, this would look a little bit different in terms of there'd probably be a little bit more fruit and veg, just to further increase food volume a little bit. But that is all of the food side of things. I need to go and whack this away and have breakfast. I need to crack on with a little bit of work. So this morning I'm just having a quick protein shake and also some cocoa rice to start the day. Just something nice and quick.
Bonjour. I am now outside the gym. I am just about to go for my push day because it's Monday, which means that it's push day and aka the best day of the week. I have my pre-workout meal, which today was 3 crumpets, a little bit of honey and some chocolate spread, and then also a yogurt. So it's like 250 grams of yogurt with some raspberries, passion fruit, and then also some dark chocolate for some fats, protein and carbohydrates. Prior to training, also had a lovely Monster as well, about an hour to an hour and a half ago, because what the fuck is that noise? Oh, it's a massive train. An old train. Because if you have caffeine like too soon prior to your training session, you're not actually really getting any effect from it. It's just a case of like you're having it for the placebo. And also, if you're having caffeine later on in the day, please keep in mind that it does affect the quality of your sleep. Not only does it affect you getting sleep, it also affects your quality of your sleep. And there's definitely a trade-off in terms of, say like your performance is increased but your recovery is significantly decreased, you're probably better off not having it. Now with my chest session, when I'm going through on some exercises, I'm planning on talking you through like what I'm focusing on for developing my chest. Now I actually have something that you can utilize for free. So it's specifically for a specific type of person. So if you're consistently going to the gym, you're training consistently and you're trying to grow your chest, but it is just not growing no matter what you do, then this is the solution that you need. Not only are you going to get a selection of free training programs that you can choose from that are specific for chest growth, you're also going to get a video explaining exactly how to utilize these training programs, and also a guide on exactly what to do in order to maximize your chest growth. So you're going to be able to have a specific program to follow for 12 weeks. It's a program that I follow to see the chest growth that I have and the chest development that I have. So I know that it works. It's literally proven to work. It's completely free. You can just head to the link in the description to claim it. And you're going to be able to make sure that you're seeing the chest growth that you want and developing the physique that you want as well. And also you're going to be able to logbook and everything exactly as I do when I'm going to be in here in a minute. So having said that, let's go train.
hear this, so this might not even make it into the video, but I've just done my top set on the Smith machine, and it's one of those things that even though you can go, I could go heavier with it. One thing that I've been trying to focus on recently, is trying to get like all the way down to my shoulders, so I'm getting a nice deep stretch. And I used to always be obsessed with lifting heavier and not getting that sort of like bottom range of motion. Sorry, mate. And whilst I did see some results with it, ever since I've been focusing on maximising range of motion, I've not only got significantly stronger, but I've also seen much more progress from it. And it's one of those things that it is a bit humbling, and it also takes quite a lot longer to progress when you're going through a full range of motion and you're trying to pause at the bottom and everything like that. But I've seen significantly more progress from doing it like that. I can focus on progressively overloading significantly more. And also one thing, like with compound movements and isolation movements, by progressing by sort of like smaller amounts at once, I've also seen significantly more progress. I used to think that I'd have to add like a 10 on there, as opposed to say like 5 on each, or 2.5 on each side, so 5 overall. And then you wouldn't really be able to progressively overload with much accuracy. And ever since focusing on being a little bit more accurate with how I progressively overload, I've also seen much more progress. Right, we'll try our best to ignore the calves throughout this session. But I've started with my 2 shoulder exercises. So normally I would start with chest, but for my few previous blocks and phases of training, I've started with my chest first and sort of like left my shoulder work a little bit later. So now for this phase, I'm going with my shoulders first to sort of prioritize those a little bit before going on to the chest work, and now I'm going on to chest flies. Now this is something that 99% of people, I think, execute very poorly and wrong, due to the fact that I would pretty much always use this as sort of like a pre-exhaustion exercise. So this is prior to me doing like a heavy pressing movement. And my main focus is to fatigue the chest a little bit, but also get the blood flowing and like get like a nice big stretch on the chest and everything like that. And a lot of people, they go nice and heavy, and then they'll sort of like emphasize this part, which is the peak contraction, which is also where like your muscles are sort of least stressed and under the least tension. And then because they're going so heavy, they can't really get too far back and they can't get much of a stretch on their chest. Whereas I like to go a little bit lighter, really focus on emphasizing that stretch, focus on controlling the negative, and then coming back up. Chest nice and high, nice big stretch, slight pause, drive it. Also, as I'm coming up, I'm like driving my elbows in towards each other. So there's a bit more of a bend in the elbows here, less here. Just before doing my next set as well, one thing that I find people are a little bit hesitant to do is sometimes you'll notice that like your form is breaking down towards the end, and maybe you're like sort of slouching over to try and get the weight up and stuff. And what I personally do is then I just take like a couple seconds to like reset. So like pull my shoulder blades back down, make sure my chest is facing up, maybe reset my arm position a little bit so that I can make sure that I'm still completing those last reps with good form. And it's not a case that just because I'm getting towards the end, everything's going to shit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just like a little bit of a reset to make sure the form is all good. So I'm now done with chest and I am on to biceps. So I always like to finish my push session with biceps and then my pull sessions with triceps, because whilst you're doing a push session, you're slightly fatiguing your triceps anyway. And also whilst you're doing your pull session, you're going to be slightly fatiguing your biceps. So I just get a little bit more out of it. It's not something you necessarily have to do, but I find it just works a little bit better for me. Now, so far today, everything has been up in volume other than my chest press that I've just done, but I've completed it in a slightly different order to what I normally would, so it's worth keeping that in mind. I wasn't quite as fresh for that exercise as I was the previous week, so whilst the volume overall was down, it's not necessarily a true reflection of sort of progress within that one. And now I'm on to my favourite bicep exercise of all time. And again, another one that's just fucking butchered all the time. So this is incline dumbbell curl. I want to have my chest up,
Nice big stretch on my biceps. Elbows nice and secure, and I'm just focusing on trying to bring my lower arm up towards my upper arm, but trying to keep my elbows relatively still. I see a lot of people really lead with their elbows on this and not really isolate their biceps like they're trying to. And I find with biceps, they're one of those things that, they're one of those parts of the body that, for me, benefit from going a little bit lighter, really focusing on isolating them. Form was breaking down slightly to the end, but that's a pretty decent sign. I think some people are sometimes a bit too fussed about having perfect form, and the second it starts to break down, they decide that they're going to bin off the set, whereas really, once it starts getting hard and that form starts breaking down, that's when you almost want to be doubling down and really trying to sort of push yourself. Obviously not to the point that you're going to injure yourself or something like that.
So the session is done and dusted. It was a good session, felt nice and refreshed after being away. I feel like I've got a nice little pump, so we will have a look at how things are looking. So, quite happy. Put you on here. So bearing in mind, obviously I have got a little bit of a pump at this moment in time. So if I'm looking at this in comparison to sort of a few weeks ago, because it's almost been a month since I've been bulking now, in terms of the data and everything like that, I've been tracking sort of like my waist measurements each week, but this morning I went and measured my arms and everything like that, and sort of across the board, we're seeing that my measurements have increased by sort of like either 1 or 2 centimeters in most places. So like my waist and my hips are about a 2 centimeter increase, my arms and stuff like that are about a 1 centimeter increase overall, which is good to monitor this, because even though my body weight isn't sort of moving too quickly, it shows me that I am in a surplus, I am gaining body fat, and therefore it's not a case that I need to sort of rapidly increase my calories or anything like that, because I think if I did do so, it would probably just be counterproductive. I'll just be putting on more fat for the sake of it, because building muscle is a slow process. Now, at this moment in time, I am quite happy with how I look. I mean, I am a little bit chubbier here than what I'd want to be, but with bulking, it is very much a case that I focus on performance and trying to push myself as much in the gym as possible, making sure that I'm getting stronger sort of like each week, as opposed to being really obsessed with how I look, because inevitably you are going to look a little bit worse, but the main thing that you want to be focusing on is seeing progressive overload within the gym. Now, with that all done and dusted, that is the end of today's video. So like and subscribe, as always. Leave me a comment if there's anything that you want me to go over in future. We'll go over more. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already, at Coach Recontrol, because I'm going to help you to actually look like you go to the gym. And also, if you want to grow your chest and you don't want to waste your time, head to the link in the description for the chest growth guide. It's called Flat Chest to Big Breasts. It is designed for lads who have been consistently training at the gym but not seeing the chest growth that they're after. So if that's you, it is literally specifically for you, and it's something that I wish that I had access to sort of like 4 years ago when I was seeing next to no progress in the gym. And I think that you can tell from the start to now that I do know a little bit about gaining muscle and growing a chest. So again, hopefully you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Adios, hasta luego.